What's good, Wizards fans? Welcome to the Locked On Wizards podcast. It's your host, the real Ed Oliver, and my guy, Brandon Scott. The Wizards pull out a big win over the 76ers, 116 to 111. Denny and Gaff stepped up in the clutch. We're going to talk about it. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. So the Wizards beat the Sixers 116 to 111. They're on a 2-game win streak. They have won the last three out of the last four games. Excuse me. Also, DeLon Wright, since he's been back, the Wizards are now 5-1. Denny Avdija came through in the clutch. Gafford came through in the clutch. They had a big lineup out there with Gaff and Porzingis. Guys had to step up with Bradley Beal being out in the fourth quarter. What was your biggest reason for the Wizards win tonight?
Man, where do I start? This is a good win tonight, man. Breaking an 8-game winning streak from the 76ers. Well, I think it was a team effort. Like you said, this lineup, man, is where it's at. This is a good lineup. When we play big with Gaff at the 5, KP at the 4, Kuz at the 3, Kuz has more freedom of movement, more opportunities to shoot the ball. Monte, 8 points, but 7 assists. So he's getting into that role of distributing the ball. Bradley Beal, 19 points too. He went out with, I believe it was an injury in the fourth quarter. And I don't know what injury it was, but KP, 24 points, 10 rebounds. Kuz, 14 points, 8 rebounds. So they're rebounding at a high level. They're scoring at a high level. Team basketball is fluent. Ball movement is nice. Defense, man, I tell you, man. With these guys coming back from injury, DeLon Wright, the defense is coming back. We're starting to see they're really aggressive on defense, and it's good to see. Rui, 14 points. So those points we missed off the bench from Rui was key. We're really starting to get a lot of bench production. Because if you look at that bench, we are continuing to blow out other benches. We're beating other benches. Looking at the tail of the tape, 45% from field goal, 33% 3-point, which is not crazy good, but it's doable. Free throws, 27 for 31. Rebounds, 38 rebounds, 14 offensive. So this was a solid game against a really good team. Now, I know they were without Maxey, but I ain't tripping, man, because this is a quality win against a team that you have to beat if you want to be a playoff team. So very, very impressed. I guess the only things I would take, turnovers for both teams were an issue. Now, if you look at the Wizards, we had 9 in the first quarter. So we definitely got to shore that up if we, going forward, because as you know, we're going to talk about later, the schedule gets a little harder. We got Phoenix tomorrow night. So, to beat these teams, you got to be fluent, try to do turnoverless basketball. So we got to short it up. But other than that, bro, very good win. Very good win. And this is what I want to see from this team. I'm very optimistic now. This lineup, which is a lineup we've all been waiting for. We've been saying this from the get. Play Gaff and KP, because KP shows the ability to play the 4. And wow, so that is my opinion. This was a very good win, man. This lineup, it works. And so the question is, where do we go from here? You try to get out of this hole. As we stand, we're 14-21. So is it impossible to get out of the hole and try to get up to the 500 mark? I don't think so. I think that is a realistic goal for this team, because it's really a tale of two different teams. Without DeLon and without Rui, we had no bench production as far as scoring. And the defense just was subpar. Now it's a completely different team. So I love it, man. Let's get it. Let's keep this thing going.
Yeah, Denny was huge. I mean, he had a huge steal on Embiid. That was such a clutch steal by him to defend him without fouling, because, Embiid went to the free throw line a lot. Embiid had 45, 46 points tonight, which is crazy. But that's what Joel Embiid is capable of doing, and I thought they really locked down and did a better job defending him in the fourth quarter. Daniel Gafford, man, we've given him a hard time in the beginning of the year. Wes basically decreased his minutes, but Gafford stepped up with some big offensive rebounds, a clutch put-back dunk off of a miss. Denny and Gaff, man, they stepped up huge on the defensive side of the ball. We don't win this game without Dale Gafford and Denny. Denny also had a huge rebound at the end. Kuzma took a questionable shot, and the Sixers broke out for a fast break. Kuz did hustle back on defense, but and that was a big stop by him, and Denny had a huge rebound. So those were the winning plays tonight. Porzingis, he stepped up against his matchup against Joel Embiid. He had some big threes, making Joel Embiid step out there. Joel Embiid, he just doesn't want to move a lot. He's a slower-footed guy. Yes, he can score in bunches, but he doesn't want to go out there and play defense. He doesn't want to defend out there on the three-point line. I thought Porzingis did a good job of that. Rui, like you said, the bench, DeLon Wright coming back, Rui being back healthy. They've been huge. And Will Barton, he got a DNP. So Wes Unseld Jr., I got to give him some credit that he had to make some tough decisions there. Jordan Goodwin, unfortunately, did not play either. I thought Jordan Goodwin definitely could have got some minutes. But we talked about Will Barton. Sometimes you got to make some tough decisions. And I thought guys were out there moving the ball. They did cut down on the turnovers, like you said. The first quarter was awful. Kuz alone had like 4 turnovers in the first quarter. We cut down on that. We started moving the ball, getting the ball to the paint. And when we move the ball, that's when we're at our best. And like you said before we recorded, sometimes you just got to let Embiid get his. As long as the other guys like Niang and Shake Milton and Tobias Harris and guys like that don't hurt you. Now, James Harden, yes, he was getting his baskets. But I thought we defended the three-point line well. You look at the numbers, the Sixers, they struggled from the three-point line, and they were 6 for 31 from the three-point line, 19%. So, like I said, guys stepped up without Brad being out. They stepped up huge in the clutch, and we were moving the ball. Kuz hit 2 threes back-to-back. We finally figured out the zone. We struggled with the zone. We were like chickens with our heads cut off for a second, back-to-back shot clock violations. The Sixers started coming back, but we weathered the storm. So I am going to give some props to Wes Unseld Jr. I'm going to give props to the team as a whole coming out tonight and weathering the storm. They got Embiid in foul trouble. He had 5 fouls, so that was huge as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking, man, a few other factors. Professionalism. They showed their veteran presence tonight. There was some questionable calls, especially with James Harden. I mean, he stiff-armed Monte Morris, man. And it was a non-call, and I thought that was ridiculous because there was calls they made on us. I think it was that 3-point shot where I don't think he even touched James, but he got that 3-point. So it was very questionable as far as officiating, and they kept their cool. They didn't talk stuff. Trez was talking stuff. James was talking stuff. And it's just a lot of professionalism. It's good to see that from the team. They really came together as a team, and it's incredible to see because when they play as a team, we say it all the time, man. When they play as a team and play team basketball, this is a good team. They have talent. It's just, not getting into the ISO and not getting into people fighting for contracts or whatever. Really focus on the here and now and really playing for wins. And with this talent, we can get out of this hole and really try to go for a play-in the playoff spot. As far as, I'm not going to get too crazy with it, but I do think they are a play,
No, I mean, they're right now they're 1.5 games out of the 10th spot for the play-in against the Toronto Raptors. I am a little under the weather, so that's why my voice is raspy. But yes, they're 1.5 games out of the 10th spot for the play-in.
So it's not unrealistic. They're definitely a playing team. They're definitely a team that can challenge for the play-in. But for them to take that step, outside of moves being made at the deadline or even talking about acquisitions at all, from the inside out, just playing as a team. Everybody knowing their roles. This is a really, really good team, man. So very impressed. Going into Phoenix, and like I said, we're going to talk about it in a little bit, but Phoenix to me is more of a winnable game now when you see victories like this, especially if you add in Sacramento. Those are 2 good wins because those are 2 teams that are challenging for a playoff position. So these are the wins you need if you want to challenge. So it's good to see. So before we get into a preview for Phoenix Suns, tonight's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Now, I was looking at my PrizePicks before the episode, and 2 of them that I was looking at was Jason Tatum over and under 27.5 points, and for football was Josh Allen over and under for 250 yards passing. So is that easy? How does it work, you ask? Pick 2 to 6 players, and if they go score more or less than the PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 25 times your money or on any entry. There's no competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. PrizePicks offers projections on any sport that you can watch. That includes the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, college football, men's and women's college basketball, the WNBA, NASCAR, MMA, boxing, cricket, and more. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy, safe, and fast withdrawals. Currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code Locked On at sign up for instant deposit match up to $100. Thank you for making the Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. Make sure to check out Locked On Sports Today, the biggest stories around the sports world in 20 minutes or less. Plus, instant reactions, game recaps, and Locked On's Take It Today. Locked On Sports Today, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. So, before we roll into Phoenix, do you have anything else you want to talk about when it comes to the 76ers game?
Only notes I had was I already talked about Will Barton not playing tonight. Todd Gibson, I didn't talk about him too much, but I like the and one that he had in the beginning of the game. I thought he made some big plays when they really needed him, because there were times where Gafford was struggling in the beginning of the game with Embiid. Him and Porzingis were struggling. Like you said, PrizePicks, if there is a dominant big man, you definitely pick the over in their points. Anthony Davis had 55, and now Joel Embiid had 40 plus 40 against the Wizards. So centers that can score, they do really well against the Wizards. But I thought they still weathered the storm against them. DeLon Wright, once again, some deflections, some timely steals. He had 3 steals tonight. That's huge. But I do want to see him and Goodwin play. If Bill can't play tomorrow night, I do want to see Goodwin get some minutes. I think he deserves some minutes for sure. I think he's too impactful to be a guy that just sits the whole game, in my opinion. Kispert, he struggled a little bit tonight. I thought he had some good cuts to the basket, but shooting wise, I just want to look at his numbers here. Excuse me. And then that's probably all I got for this game. I'm just happy with the effort. Monte Morris too, man. We gave him a hard time at the beginning of the year too. I thought he moved the ball well. 8.7 assists, 4 rebounds. He's not going to do anything flashy, but he's a steady Eddie guy that is going to get guys in the right spots. And I thought he did a good job of that pick and roll on Joel Embiid, making him move his feet. I thought they did a good job on that. Corey Kispert, he was 1 for 4 from the 3, so. But he did other things tonight. He had 8 points and 3 boards. So I was happy with his performance. Like you said, Trez, yes, he was talking trash. Harden, I could hear there was a lot of Sixers fans in there too. I could hear that through my TV screen. And I thought the Wizards did a good job tonight.
Yeah, one more person I'm going to bring up was Denny Avia. Coming back, the question we had before this game was, where does he slide in? Do they bring him back into the starting lineup, or do they put him on the bench? And he responded well. He came in, he did his job, he played his role. I felt defense was on point tonight. Yeah, a little underwhelming. I mean, 7 points, but most of the people on the bench had 7 or 8 points. So the whole bench as a unit, this, look, other than the starting lineup, this bench unit is nice. I like the bench. I like Rui. I like Denny, Kispert, DeLon, and Taj playing together. I mean, this is, both units they have that cohesiveness. I like it. I really like how this team is going forward because we're at 100%. Now, Bradley Beal going down, and I don't know what the injury was.
They said it's a hamstring.
Okay, so
Chase Hughes, Josh Roberts, they just tweeted it out. He hurt his left hamstring. Yeah, previously missed time due to a right hamstring injury. I'm not sure the severity yet, so we'll see what happens tomorrow night.
Yeah, so I mean, but I'm not too worried. Now I know it's Bradley Beal, that's the franchise cap, but from the showing from KP and Kuz, man, and this bench, we don't know. It's kind of 50-50 whether Devin Booker's going to play. So with those two out, with Bradley Beal and Devin Booker being out, where's the highlight out? And I'm gonna say the center position. Aiden there, I think that Gaff and KP, it's just time to shine and score in the paint. I think people like Kuz on the perimeter, it's time for him to shine. And I think the bench is going to be that factor that's going to win this game. So I guess we'll go ahead and slide into our keys of victory real quick. And I'll go ahead and start mine. That's going to be one of them right there. The bench. I think the battle of the bench, to beat Phoenix, man, we got to win the battle of the bench. Because like I said, the chances are Bradley Beal and Devin Booker are both going to be out. So, and Chris Paul and Monte Morris aren't going to be guys going to win the game for these teams, in stage in the careers. So really, you're looking at the bench. So bench production. I want to see the bench win this matchup, beat Phoenix's bench. Man, turnovers, keep them down low. Was keep them low, man. Was focus on team basketball, fluid passing. I think we'll be all right. And 3, try to use 3-point shooting as a threat. Another threat to have on his team. We can't be too dependent on our points in the paint. Really was get some high percentage 3-point shots and really turn 3-point shooting into a threat. So that would be my quick 3 keys of victory, because I do think it is a winnable game. Even if Devin Booker plays, I think it's a very winnable game.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think Landry Shamet, he's going to be out. I think he had 30 points the last time he played us too. So that's huge. But just defending Chris Paul, making it tough on him. I wouldn't double none of the guys they have out there. You don't need to double team like we did with Joel Embiid tonight. But yeah, I would just push the pace on them again. Make DeAndre Ayton run, and I like this matchup for Porzingis. DeAndre Ayton's another slower big that I think Porzingis can definitely hurt him at the 3-point line for sure. And Kuz getting downhill. Kuz had too many turnovers at the beginning of the game. He finally woke up in the second half, but he's going to be a big key. The other two guys at the solid three are going to have to step up if Brad doesn't play. It kind of looks like he's not going to play, judging from what happened last time with the hamstring injury and how he threw his headband at the sideline. But my key is the other two guys got to step up, and I want to see Jordan Goodwin get some minutes at DeLon Wright get some minutes together. Those are my two easy keys, and of course, no turnovers, knock down free throws, defending the 3-point line, and just pushing the pace and running.
Cool beans, man. I'm with it. Before we move on to player of the game and defensive belt of the game, and looking at some questions, tonight's episode is brought to you by BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from pro football to college bowl season to basketball and the World Cup. We got it all at BetOnline.net. If you love sports podcasts such as this one, you can find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. Hit the website today or use your mobile device. BetOnline, where the game starts. So, player of the game, man, that's hard. Oh, well, not really hard. I think the defensive belt is the hard one. Player of the game, I'm gonna go with KP. 24 points, 10 rebounds. The strength it shows. Embiid is he's a hard guy to defend against. He's strong. He's a savvy. He can shoot. It's just, so. But I feel like they maintained him. With players like Embiid, you're not going to shut him down. It's kind of shutting down his support element. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna roll with KP as being the player of the game. But I've said this before, and you're like, nah, man, it can't be a team thing. But I'm gonna call it this time, homie. The defensive belt goes to the team. I'm gonna tell you why. Because as a team, they play good defense. I can't look at many players on this team tonight and say, he did a bad job defensively. I think everybody really did the role and really played. It was a team effort defensively. And really, that's what you want to see. When you go against teams like Philly, man, you want to see a team effort. Everybody, rotating, man, not having mismatches, communicating on the defensive end. You're seeing that now. You're seeing. So it shows DeLon Wright was very important. So to keep the long answers cut short, I'm gonna roll with the whole team getting the belt tonight. I think it was a team effort to shut down. Not shut down, but to defeat the 76ers.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Denny and Gaff. They were huge in the clutch. That stop on Embiid coming with a full head of steam. He gets so many calls, but for Denny to just rake down and get the and get the ball out, that was huge. Gafford rebounding the ball, just staying tall without fouling as well. So both those guys, both those guys were huge tonight.
Yes, sir, absolutely. So before we roll tonight, we're gonna go ahead and look at some comments tonight. Appreciate everybody showing out tonight. So let's go ahead and see. Oh, some love. This from Ashen Stormblast, man. I'm feeling the name. Hi, Locked On Wizards gang. I just want to say thank you for the podcast. I listen to them every day at work. And for someone who's just getting into the NBA, you guys are the best to listen to. Appreciate you. Let's see. Kenny, what's up, man? Good win. Try to watch it on TV, but the Cavs game was probably on NBC Sports Washington. Yeah, it tends to be. But, this was a good game, man. This was a really good game because, again, you want to beat the teams like the Philadelphia 76ers, man. You got to beat those teams. The East is loaded, for a long time. So it seemed like for decades, the Western Conference that conference has just ruled the NBA forever, man. And now the Eastern Conference is starting to get a lot of love. And, if this team is in fact serious about building around Bradley Beal and trying to find the pieces around him to extend the ladder of the Eastern Conference, you have to beat the Philadelphia 76ers. So this is a good win. And like I said, we're 14-21. So we're kind of in, the gray area where, one half of us is looking at draft position, the other half is trying to save the season. And I look, to a certain degree, I'm a fan of both. I want the team to win, but then I also want to see us succeed, especially going to the future. So definitely. Let's see. This is from my dude Drew. What's going on, man? Good team effort tonight by the guys. Rotation wasn't that bad. Kuz didn't have a good game shooting the ball, but was A+ on the defensive side. We definitely need to keep Kuz. I agree. I think I like Kuz. I want him to stay. Now, Obviously, him going into a player option has a lot to do with that, and not having 100% certainty whether he's going to stay. I think that has a lot to do with the situation, especially if they're looking at John Collins, because like we said before, him and John Collins are very similar in skill set. I do think that Kuz is a lot more agile, especially with putting the ball on the floor than John Collins, because John Collins is one of those guys where he has to have a point guard, like E said before, that kind of helps him, that kind assists the lobs. So I would prefer to keep Kuz. But like you said, definitely A+ on the defensive side. This team was great on the defensive side. I mean, everybody, even with his shot not going down per se, Kuz still stepped on the defensive side. So I definitely agree. What do you think, E?
Excuse me, Devin, I would love to keep Kuz. Kuz, he was a huge help tonight too, even though he had a rough start as far as turnovers. But he hit two big threes. He took a bad shot, but hustled back on defense. Against the Kings, he had 35, 36. So he's a big part of the solid three, and he can pass, he can rebound, he can put the ball on the floor. He's clutch. He's been nothing but good on and off the court for the Wizards. So I prefer not to trade him for John Collins. Now, if they attach a first-round pick to it, then something to think about. But I think it's a downgrade right now. John Collins is having a down year as well, and I think he doesn't really fit. His fit next to Porzingis is definitely interesting. It's two bigs. I mean, we like Gafford next to Porzingis too, but I like how Kuz can get downhill and space the floor as well. And when Brad is out, Kuz is a guy that really steps up. He can go for 35, 30, 36. He can have big games like that. And John Collins right now, and John Collins is really, he's making $23.5 million, which is basically what Kuzma's going to make. But if Kuzma really wants to leave, then we have no choice. But in a perfect world, I'd rather keep Kyle Kuzma in DC for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a fan favorite, and I think there's reports that he doesn't want to be here. But until I see him kind of come out and say I don't want to be here,
That's true too.
I would love him to be here. You haven't seen really reports of him saying that. It's
right.
Just we know how the media rolls. I mean,
you're right.
We're gonna do one more comp of the night, guys. This comes from Matt. What's going on, Matt? How you doing, man? This is the full team. This is what we should expect from them if they want to make the playoffs. 300%. With a full team, when they play as a team, they're a good team. They really are. I think that they could definitely be a playoff team, but it's finding that consistency going forward. And I think that's been the big issue with this team is consistency. So what we got?
What Chimp said, that's what I mean about until he doesn't know his place. Now, we give West a hard time all the time, but I don't think tonight's the night. I thought he did a solid job. I think that was huge for him not to play Will Barton. We know he loves his Nuggets guys, so that was huge for him to do that. I know that wasn't easy for him, probably emotionally as well, to sit Will Barton the whole game. So that was huge for West. He put Denny and Gaff back in when we needed defense. So I didn't have a problem with West tonight. There's been many games where we certainly had problems. I don't know about you, Brandon, because I know you definitely give West a hard time too. So I don't know how you felt about West tonight.
I feel like even with West, this was a good win for everybody. He was solid. Everybody played their role, and that's team basketball. So I mean, West, it went on him. I mean, really, the win kind of is because I think he did good from a coaching standpoint. So it definitely wasn't on West. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up tonight, guys. Appreciate everybody coming out. Definitely appreciate you. Oh, I got to see this last comment. Take that, Sid.
I know you guys are funny. Somebody, Alex, needs to take a liberty. Take that, look, my fault, y'all. I wanted to get in after the win. I sound like Doc Rivers, actually. That's what I sound like. I sound exactly like Doc Rivers.
You see, we got Sashmo over here, man.
Let me clear my throat.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man.
So we'll go ahead and wrap it up tonight, guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching and commenting, man. Appreciate the love. Definitely appreciate it. Thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today. Now make Locked On Sports Today your second listen. Peter Bogowski brings you the biggest stories from around the sports world in 20 minutes. Get analysis and opinions before anyone else with our local and national experts and insiders. Locked On Sports Today podcast available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. YouTube, we are close to 3,000 subscribers. So definitely like, subscribe, comment below, show some love. 5 stars on wherever you get your podcast. We would definitely appreciate that. Me and my dude, the real Ed Oliver, we are on Twitter and Instagram. Game days, we're up there chopping it up. So definitely holler at us. And again, appreciate everybody taking time tonight and with comments, showing love. Definitely have a good night. Got the dub tonight. Yes, sir. So let's keep the good times rolling, baby. Tomorrow night, 7:00, Phoenix Suns. Definitely show some love. And everybody have a good night and peace.